With that said, let me move on to the next segment of our show. And this is the N-scale modeling segment that we could not do last week, frankly, because I made a mistake. I had forgotten that Clem Harris had sent us a video for that show. And when I called on him and he didn't answer, I forgot that we had the video. So I didn't ask for the video, so we forgot the video. So tonight, I want to rerun the sponsor for the N-scale segment, National Capital Trains. And then I want to, then we'll run Clem Harris's video that we were supposed to run last week, but I forgot to do it. So Phil, if we could run both of those videos, please.
National Capital Trains is the largest supplier of N-scale modeling products in the state of Virginia. We have been in business since 1989. We carry a full line of modeling products, specializing in N and HO-N3 scales. We carry a large selection of competitively priced high-quality N-scale products from Atlas, Bachmann, Digitrax, Intermountain, Cato, Microtrains, NCE, Pico, Rapido, Soundtrax, as well as Brass. For foreign railroad train aficionados, we offer a wide selection of Japanese and European prototype trains. We are located 20 miles from Washington, D.C. in Springfield, Virginia. We are a short 7-minute drive off Interstate 95. Stop in and see us for the best in N-scale. We also have online ordering on our website, including great prices and expert advice. Call us for your N-scale modeling needs and advice. Use the QR code to visit our website. We look forward to serving you.
And one of the things that is curious to me is why I can see the why, but I'm curious to hear from you why you picked Afton Canyon for your layout and how you arrived. Like, this is what I want to do. This is what I have to do. This is it. How did you choose Afton Canyon?
Well, really good question. And for me, it's decades in the making. I think a lot of people model what they grew up with. So you see a lot of guys that are, our age, roughly 40s, that are modeling like late 90s or whatever. And granted, I didn't go to this location until 2007, but so to make the point, this is decades in the making now, because I went to, when I had BLMA, I wanted to make a brass truss bridge. I knew that a factory that I was working with could do it. And Overland Models had done them, but they were far gone and you couldn't find them and they were very expensive. So I thought, okay, I want to do a truss bridge, but I need to find a good prototype. And it was always kind of, what prototype can I find that fits a lot of people, right? I don't want a pin connected bridge that's for old steam engines only. I don't want the super modern truss bridge that's like, we have one over here in Southern California. They built 3 of them that look like they are so robust they can withstand 10 earthquakes. So I wanted something in between, right? I went to Google Earth, this is 2006, 2007, and just followed the UP main line through the desert, because I knew that somewhere out there had to be some type of truss bridges. So it's the LA&SL line between Barstow and Vegas, and I didn't have to go too far. I didn't even know it was Afton Canyon then, but from Google Earth saw these rectangular silver, truss patterns, and I thought, okay, well, there they are. And again, 2006, 2007, so it wasn't like Google Earth was like, the satellite images weren't great, but got some friends, rallied them together. We went out there, measured them, and then these were the product that I made for BLMA when I had the company. So, BLMA was sold to Atlas in 2016, and I sat on these bridges for years and years and years. And it wasn't until basically December of 2020, I had been designing this layout. And again, it's at surface level, pretty self-explanatory, but under here, when you get into the helix, it starts to become quite wrapped around and kind of took a lot of like mental capacity to figure out, like, hey, how's that going to clear this, but then not make the grade too steep and whatever.
Yeah, and I remember that when I visited with you, like I was hunched over looking in, making sure I didn't run into anything. I was like, oh, that's the last thing I want to do. Is like, oh no, I tore up a bunch of Craig's trains.
Well, yeah, there's to that point, there's quite a bit of running underneath here, which again, helps with the long trains I like to run and whatnot. But bottom line is, designed it in late 2019, and then COVID hit, and it was kind of like, outside of running the business that I currently have, it was like, okay, well, at night, you know, when the wife's asleep, and at that point the one baby was asleep, I'll work on the layout and just kind of, you know, put on a business book, build a layout, and I had the bridges sitting around forever, and that's what kind of made me go back to, like, I can make Afton Canyon. I have the stuff to do it. Like, why not? I mean, I've got these 2 bridges for the canyon. Like, why not do it? And like I've kind of hinted at, when the first time I went there, it's so colorful. They call it the Grand Canyon of the Mojave. And when you go there, you're like, I couldn't believe that I was in Southern California. It just felt so tranquil and beautiful, just peaceful, until the train goes through. Then it's not peaceful, you know. But
right. And I'm kind of giggling here, knowing that this is a Union Pacific inspired layout, but you have a BNSF coal train stop.
Well, I'm not going to go grab it, but I have for some reason they do. I don't know. They don't have trackage rights, but there's quite a few BNSF over the years. I've seen photos of quite a few BNSF and coal trains going through. I think this one might go to Cushenberry down in, Victorville area.
Okay.
So, anyway, so yes, but and that's kind of the part of the hobby where it's like, you know, we all kind of like, very rare do you see the person that's like, I model this date, this time period, this location, because the rest of us go, well, yeah, but I like the NSF SD70 Max, and I want one in DPU on my train, so why not?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things how I'm kind of fudging my era for what I'm collecting and hope to eventually build myself, is that I'm kind of doing 2015-ish to now, roughly. And just for the fact that I've found that as I've done a lot of my modeling, like the locomotives all wind up with PTC.
Yep,
and
yep.
so that puts me 2015 or later on for as wide of for as much implementation of PTC that my fleet has. So I understand the trying to get a window and get just right. You don't want to get too small and condense it down, and then you're stuck. But you want to be able to do what you want and truly enjoy the hobby.
Exactly. I agree.
So I've got kind of an oddball question for you. I want to pitch at you. What's your least favorite part of the hobby?
Oh man. Well, I think, you know, on this side where I am now as a modeler, I don't have much to complain about. I think that there's some, I can think of minor things, right? Like, on fully DCC, every engine has sound. I pretty much only have ESU lock sound equipped locomotives, but I have a few others, and here and there they do funny things. So DCC and its kind of gremlins and the amount of complexity is maybe something that is a little bit, you know, something I think about. But I can tell you that in terms of like what I don't like, I can just say that I'm much happier to be on the modeling side of the hobby than on the business side, because on the business side, it gets to be a lot, you know, when you spend just a ton of time on a project, bring it out. Maybe the factory messes up something, but you'll just get, you know, bombarded on the forums or whatever. It becomes almost personal. And I think that that's kind of where this hobby, sometimes it's like, hey, wait, we have people trying to make a living. We may not always agree with what they do, or sometimes things are out of their control, timelines, not. But I think that that's kind of the only thing I can think of is from the business side, the amount of like, you know, negativity sometimes you see online, but I think that's in any hobby.
Well, that's interesting that you bring that up, because I know in the past few years, and I'll use Rapido as a prime example, they've actually had to hit some of the poor behavior from members of the hobby, and how members of the hobby have called up and interacted with their staff. They've actually had to get that out on social media and address those issues, and like, hey guys, we're people on the backside of this too.
Yeah.
And that's interesting that you bring that up. The complexities of DCC, and I'm in process of transitioning over to all ESU also. Mm-hmm. And the complexities of ESU, I love it. And I can do all the little weird things and get all the little, like the sound files adjusted so that you don't get that weird harmonic frequency. Yep. You have multiple the same prime. I can do that kind of stuff, but I'm Gen X, and they say that we know computers. I mean, I'm doing good to get Zoom fired up and talk to you right now.
Yeah,
So I'm getting there. Yeah, you can teach an old dog new tricks, but sometimes he's a little slow to learn. So
yeah, I hear you on that. I don't even. You're way more advanced in DCC than I am. I can tell you that.
Well, I don't know about that yet. Having seen where you're at and what you're doing, and like talking about like speed matching and stuff.
Oh,
That one little thing in N scale. I mean, I kind of giggle. Model Railroader magazine had done a little. They're recycling some of their older articles right now, and one of the things that recently came up was like talking about N scale locomotives doing 213 miles an hour, and I'm kind of laughing at it. It's, the articles from 5 or 6, 7 years ago, and I'm like, hey guys, psst, you can speed match this stuff, right? You can slow it down.
I know.
Yeah, at least on my end with speed matching, I've tried to set 73 as a top speed, and again that goes back to prototype function, and then set a 50% speed of 36 miles an hour. And then down to speed step one, about 2.5 miles an hour. Then doing that with different decoders, different models, and different gearing, it seems to have worked.
Nice. Yeah.
So, anyways, the last question I've got for you, we don't have a whole ton of time left, but I wanted to ask you what your favorite part of the hobby was.
Oh, well, I think that what I do love about this hobby is, well, first and foremost, the camaraderie, right? The friendships. Meeting guys like yourself, and gosh, I mean, just I think running BLMA, I got to meet a lot of people all over the country and all over the world. But I think that's first and foremost because we're all. How can you explain this? How does this make any sense? I get people that come into the house and I'm like, hey, come check out the train room. In fact, I've been talking to contractors about building this extra building in the backyard to put the new train layout in. But I always walk them through here so they understand. And they're like, I had one guy, he was like speechless. And he's like, man, I wasn't expecting to see this today. And I'm like, well, here you go. So the fact that we all can kind of understand it is, we have that we're kindred spirits, as they say, right?
Yeah.
The second thing I would say is that there's a little bit of something for everybody, right? So to build a big layout, it's few and far between that there's a big layout that's built by one person, because you can be the DCC guy, you can be the wiring guy, you can be the scenery guy, but very few is somebody really good at everything. And even if you are really good at everything, I'd argue that you don't have the time to do it all. So that being said, to your point about DCC and like my capability, I'm terrible, man. Again, you're light years ahead of me, but I have a really good buddy who, with the working signals here on the layout, he got this all programmed for JMRI, and it's dialed in, but I didn't do that. He did that. And I think that's going back to, again, the friendships and the camaraderie that you meet just through the virtue that we all like this stuff.
Absolutely. And back to the point of it earlier about how you served as an inspiration for me. I get a kick out of it every time I get a text from you, and I see, oh wow, look at the nose of that engine, you get all the grab irons and the windshield wipers, and for as detail oriented as I am, that one thing is like, I look at that and my head explodes sometimes when I see those pictures. I'm like, holy crap, how did you do that?
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Well, we're very much, the same on that it's fun. It's fun to do this stuff that, again, where else can you talk about anything? I mean, this hobby is so unique. It's fun to be able to do that.
Absolutely. Craig, I want to tell you, thank you from me personally for your time today, and thank you for everybody that'll see this. And I'm really looking forward to get this out, get this shared with everybody. If for anybody that wants to follow Craig's layout and his progress, if you're on Facebook, it's Afton Canyon and N Scale. And Craig provides periodic updates as to what he's doing and different projects. And how all the different things, all the different little things he's doing with the layout. But again, Craig, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Clem. Thank you so much, man. Always good to
Yeah.
talk to you.
Absolutely.